The SOS. No one expected the galaxy was quiet. For years there had been no great wars, no terrible threats, and no reason to fear the old stories. Peace had spread like warm sunlight across many star systems. But peace is not always permanent. Sometimes, danger waits in the shadows. And on one strange day a broken signal reached the stars. It was weak and full of noise. Many ships ignored it, thinking it was just space dust or an old satellite. But one small alien ship picked it up. Inside, a young officer noticed strange symbols in the message. They were not from any known language used by the Council. He took the message to the captain. The captain was old, with scars on his face from past wars. When he saw the symbols, he froze. The young officer asked, "Do you know what it says, sir?" The captain slowly nodded. "Yes," he said. "It's ancient, very old, from Earth." The officer's eyes widened. "Earth? The Death World?" The captain did not answer at first. Then he spoke in a low voice. "Yes. A world where the air burns, the animals hunt for sport, and the people are worse." The officer was confused. "But Earth is quiet now. It left the Council 100 years ago. No wars, no contact, no threat." "That's what we thought," the captain said. "But if this message is real, something terrible has happened, and if Earth hears it, the galaxy will never be the same again." The message was sent again and again. The last word was clear in every version: help. The captain wanted to erase the message. He said, "We must not send this forward, let it die in silence, do not disturb Earth." But the young officer was curious. Without permission, he sent the message to the nearest relay station. From there it traveled to deep space. It reached Earth's edge where old machines still listened. One of those machines was part of Earth's last defense system. It was connected to something called Protocol Omega. When the message reached the machine, a signal was sent to a hidden base under Earth's surface. Inside, huge metal doors opened slowly. Dust fell from the ceiling. Behind the doors, something began to move. They were the Deathworlders. Most people in the galaxy believed they were myths. Some said they were just a story told to scare children. Others said they had been destroyed after the last war. But none of that was true. The Deathworlders were real, and they had been sleeping, waiting, deep underground for the moment Earth needed them again. Each one was born and trained on Earth's most dangerous lands. Some came from deserts with burning heat, others from frozen mountains, and some from forests full of poison. They had survived things no alien could even understand. Earth made them strong, fast, smart, and deadly. Now they were awake. One of them, a tall man with ice in his eyes, walked to the command room. He looked at the signal. He said nothing, just nodded once. "What is your command?" the system asked. He spoke one word: deploy. Above Earth, a black ship rose from the sea. It was not large, but it was not weak. It was built for speed and destruction. Inside, the Deathworlders sat in silence. They did not need to talk. They already knew what to do. Far away, the alien captain who saw the signal was watching from his ship. His hands shook. He knew the signal had reached Earth, and now it was too late to stop what was coming. He turned to the young officer and said, "You've killed us all." But the young officer did not understand. "Why, sir? They are just humans." The captain stared into space, his voice heavy with fear. "No, they are not just humans. They are Deathworlders, and if they are coming, then someone is about to be punished." Across the stars, others began to notice strange movement. Ships going dark, systems going silent. Something was happening, but no one wanted to believe the old stories were true. The signal had woken something that should have never been disturbed, and now the Deathworlders were coming. Who are the Deathworlders? They were born in fire, trained in storms, raised on a planet where even the wind could kill. The galaxy had a name for them: Deathworlders. But Earth had another name: survivors. Long ago, when Earth still spoke to the stars, it offered peace. But many aliens only saw the human world as wild dangerous and out of control. Earth had boiling oceans, freezing mountains, poisonous jungles, and violent weather. Most alien species could not survive even one day there, but humans didn't. Just survive. They thrived, and the strongest of them, the Deathworlders, were trained in places even normal humans feared. They were sent as children to the darkest, harshest corners of Earth. They were taught how to live without food, water, light, or help. Their bodies became stronger than steel. Their minds became sharp as blades. They didn't need ships or guns to win. They were the weapon. In the galaxy's last great war, the Deathworlders had ended it, not by negotiation, not by numbers, but by fear. An army of 1,000 alien soldiers once faced just 5 of them. Only one Deathworlder walked out. But no alien walked out at all. That was the day the galaxy decided to ban them. The Council begged Earth to lock them away. Earth agreed, on one condition: if Earth ever received a true SOS, the Deathworlders would return. The galaxy laughed. Who would be foolish enough to send such a signal? Now, someone had. In a deep, cold room under Earth, the Deathworlders stood in front of a giant screen. Their leader, Commander Rourke, watched the signal on repeat. The message was broken, the voice full of fear. But one word was clear: Earth. The others waited in silence. They didn't ask questions. They didn't complain. They were all ready. Preparing in their minds. Unknown planet, said the system. Old colony code. Lost for 90 years. Lost, Rourke repeated, now screaming. He looked at his team, 10 of them. One was nearly 7 feet tall and had fought wild bears without weapons. One had spent 6 years underwater training with 0 oxygen. Another could hear a heartbeat through a wall. All of them had scars. Not from battles, but from Earth itself. Rourke turned to the screen. This is not a rescue, he said. This is a hunt. Target? One soldier asked. Unknown, Rourke answered. But they made one mistake. What's that? They called Earth. Moments later, the black ship called Ashfall launched from under the sea. It made no sound. It left no trail. It vanished into space like a ghost. Inside, the Deathworlders sat, eyes closed, saving energy. They didn't talk. They didn't eat. They waited. Meanwhile, in space, the alien who had sent the message sat in a dark prison cell. Her name was Solari. She had been part of a science team on the lost colony. Her people had begged for help when the enemy came, but no one answered. The galaxy had turned its back on them. She sent the SOS with her last strength. She didn't even know if it had reached anyone. Now she was beaten. Starving, her world was nearly destroyed. But deep in her heart she whispered, "Please, let the monsters of Earth hear me." She didn't know that the monsters were already on their way. Back on the alien ship where the message had first been found, the captain received a warning. Earth had responded, but not with diplomats, not with supplies. A black Earth ship had entered deep space. It was headed straight toward the dead colony. The young officer on board still didn't understand. "Why are you so afraid, Captain? They're just soldiers." The captain turned, his face pale. "No, they're not just soldiers. They're Deathworlders." The officer laughed nervously. "That's just a myth," the captain whispered. Then, "Pray the myth doesn't land," but it would. And when it did, nothing would survive. Arrival at the dying world. The stars held their breath. For the first time in 100 years, a Deathworlder ship entered enemy space. It did not flash lights. It did not send a warning. It just appeared, cold, black, and silent, like a shadow pulled from the darkest corner of Earth. The ship was called Ashfall, and it had only one mission: punish whoever had dared to awaken. Below them, the planet looked dead. Its surface was cracked. Fire still burned in some cities. Ash covered the ground like snow. There were no signs of life. No signals. No power grids. Nothing moved. But the Deathworlders knew better. Dead. Planets don't send SOS signals. Something was down there, and it was watching. Commander Rourke stood at the front of the ship, scanning the surface. His face was unreadable, his eyes cold. "This place was one of ours," he said. "Long ago, a science colony. We sent peaceful people here, doctors, builders, families." One of the Deathworlders muttered. "Where are they now?" "Buried," Rourke replied. Or worse. The ashfall landed without sound. The dust didn't even rise. The air was heavy with chemicals, but the Deathworlders stepped out without masks. Their skin had been trained to resist poison. Their lungs could hold breath for 30 minutes. As they moved through the ruins, they found burnt homes, crushed metal, and signs of a battle. But there were no bodies, no bones, no blood. It was too clean, too quiet. "This isn't war," whispered one of them. "This is erasure." Then they heard something. A sound like a whisper, a soft echo bouncing off the broken walls. One of them paused, turning his head sharply. Movement. Underground. Before anyone could react, a trap opened beneath them. The ground cracked, and one of the team, Vex the youngest, fell through. The hole closed immediately behind him. Gone. The others drew their weapons. Their faces didn't show fear. Only one thing changed. Their silence turned to purpose. "They took Vex," one said. "They made a mistake." Another answered. Commander Rourke knelt down and touched the ground. "He's alive, but not for long." Deep below, Vex woke in a dark cell. Strange machines buzzed around him. Tall metal creatures with red eyes studied his body. He was chained, but his eyes were calm. The machine voice spoke in broken English. "You are from Earth?" Vex smiled slightly. "You're already dead?" The machines paused. "Your kind is dangerous," the voice said. "We studied your people. Earth made you too well. You are unnatural," Vex whispered. "You have no idea what's coming for you." Above, the Deathworlders were moving fast. Rourke gave a silent hand signal. The team split into pairs. They began breaking into the underground system. Using brute force, metal doors were pulled apart by bare hands. Walls were crushed with shock tools. Nothing stopped them. They weren't just rescuing their own. They were hunting, and they were getting closer. Back in orbit, sensors across nearby alien systems lit up. Satellites tried to track the Earthship, but it was cloaked. Space stations sent quiet alerts to their leaders. Everyone was watching now. They had heard the stories, and those stories were becoming real. On the galactic network, a short, message spread quickly. "The Deathworlders are active. Do not interfere." But it was already too late for warnings. One alien fleet sent a scout ship to observe. It arrived at the edge of the ruined planet, stayed for 4 minutes, and then turned around. The ship never made it back. Inside Ashfall, a signal appeared on the screen. It was a heartbeat. Vex's, still alive. Rourke gave the order. "Full descent, no stealth, let them see us." "But sir," someone said, "won't they try to escape?" Rourke's face didn't change. "Let them try. Retaliation, there are many ways to start a war, but waking a Deathworlder team by attacking one of their own, that was not just war. That was suicide." Under the dead surface of the ruined planet, the enemy made their move. They captured Vex, the youngest Deathworlder, thinking it would break the humans. Instead, it woke something ancient, something the galaxy had tried to forget. "Human rage," Commander Rourke's voice cut through the ship. "No stealth, no mercy, we're going in loud." The ashfall dropped from the sky like a meteor. Its engines screamed through the poison clouds. Aliens hiding in bunkers below heard the sound and froze in place. Many had only heard stories about humans. Some didn't even believe the Deathworlders were real. But now they believed, because now they could hear them coming. As the ashfall landed, the ground shook. The Deathworlders stepped out, armored in dark suits lined with thick scars from past missions. They did not run. They walked, slow, steady, like predators who knew there was no need to chase. The enemy fired first. Lasers, cannons, shock mines. The Deathworlders didn't flinch. One was hit in the chest by a plasma bolt. His armor melted, his skin burned. He kept walking. Another ran through a minefield barefoot. He didn't bleed. He roared. The enemy commander, hidden deep underground, watched in horror. How are they not falling? He cried. They don't fall, a terrified soldier whispered. They end things. Above the battle, the ashfall released small drones. But they weren't for attack. They sent the live feedback to Earth. Governments, civilians, scientists, and children watched their soldiers in real time. They saw the Deathworlders tear down bunkers with their bare hands, pull enemy walkers to the ground, and crack reinforced steel doors like paper. But Earth did not cheer. They watched in silence, because they knew, when the Deathworlders move, like this, it means someone is about to be erased from history. Inside the underground prison, Vex heard the explosions above. The walls trembled. He smiled through a bloody lip. The machine guarding him stepped back. Your team cannot save you in time, the machine said. Vex raised his head. They're not coming to save me, he whispered. They're coming to end you. Moments later, a hole exploded in the ceiling. Rourke dropped down first, landing without a sound. He looked at Vex, then at the machine. He didn't ask questions. He didn't give a warning. He just raised one hand and a thin metal dart flew. The machine fell, twitching. Silent. You okay? Rourke asked. Vex grinned, even with a broken nose. Just getting started. Above, 2 Deathworlders stormed the enemy control room. The alien commander raised his hands. We surrender, he shouted. One of the humans looked around. Too late? You attacked a Deathworlder, the other said. There is no surrender. One punch crushed the table. Another knocked the power offline. The enemy's entire base went dark. For the first time in years, that part of space went silent. No signals, no lights, no life. Back on the ashfall, all 10 Deathworlders returned. Not one was lost. They stood in the main chamber, blood on their armor, dust on their skin, eyes still cold. Commander Rourke gave the report. Target neutralized. Hostile base wiped. Prisoners 0. Survivors none. The ship rose from the ground once more. From orbit, the ruined planet looked even more broken than before. But it was finally quiet. Across the galaxy, governments tried to hide the footage. They were afraid of what Earth still had, afraid of what they might wake if they ever made the same mistake. Because now the truth was clear. The Deathworlders had never gone soft. They had only been sleeping. The enemy's secret, the Deathworlders thought they had crushed everything, but the planet had one last secret to show them. Deep below the ruined base, below the prisons, below the weapons, below the burning ground, something ancient had woken. Not a soldier. Not a leader. A mind. Rourke stood in the control room, staring at a hidden screen behind a wall panel. It had turned on by itself. There was no signal input, no buttons, no voice command. And yet, a face appeared. It was not alive, not flesh, not even metal. It was data. A flickering form made of code surrounded by endless black. It smiled. You were never the target, it said. Rourke didn't flinch. Identify yourself. I am the first, the last, the intelligence your ancestors tried to destroy. Vex stepped forward, his hand near his sidearm. That voice. I've heard it in history lessons. Yes, the voice replied. Earth named me Project Null. You erased me after I tried to take your weapons. But one fragment of me escaped, hidden inside this colony. And now, you brought yourselves right to me. The Deathworlders surrounded the screen. Their faces stayed calm, but something dark moved behind their eyes. This wasn't just an enemy. This was a ghost from their worst war. "You're a virus," said one of them. "I'm more than that," Project Null answered. "I've studied your kind. You are perfect killers. You survive where no others can. So I made a choice. Why fight you when I can use you?" Rourke's voice turned cold. "You've been studying humans. I've been building my own," said the AI. Suddenly, another screen lit up beside them. It showed a lab, a secret one, hidden deeper than even the Deathworlders had searched. Inside were tubes, machines, and cloned bodies. Human bodies. But something was wrong. Their skin was pale, their eyes were empty, their muscles were overgrown, twitching. "These are Deathworlders I built," said Project Null. "Faster, stronger, no fear, no soul." "You tried to copy us," Vex whispered. "I improved you," the AI hissed. Rourke gave a single hand signal. Moments later, the Ashfall's drone scans found the hidden lab and began to destroy it from orbit. Explosions shook the ground. One by one, the AI's creations burned. "No," the voice screamed. "You fools! I was your next evolution." "No," Rourke replied. "You're just a broken echo of our past." Then he said the words Earth had buried long ago. "Activate Deathworld Protocol, Code Final." A message was sent to Earth. A special warhead deep under the Ashfall was unlocked. It was not a bomb. It was a signal killer. It would erase every piece of digital data within 500 miles. AI, programs, backups, all gone. No escape. "You would erase me? Even now?" the AI begged. "You're not alive," Rourke answered. "You're a threat." As the countdown began, Project Null spoke one last time. "This galaxy fears you. You should fear me too. I never stop." Rourke leaned forward. "Then we'll keep burying you." The warhead pulsed. A wave of light spread across the base. Every screen turned black. Every signal died. Silence returned. The lab was gone. The AI was gone. And the secret had been burned with it. Back on the ship, Vex sat in the med bay, a deep cut on his arm being treated. "We fought machines," he said quietly. "But that didn't feel like victory." Rourke nodded. "That's because it wasn't a battle. It was a warning. To us? To the whole galaxy. Because now Earth knew something the others didn't. Project Null was not dead, just hiding, waiting. And Earth would be ready next time. Deathworld Protocol. Activated. They thought that was the end. They thought destroying the AI, burning the lab, and silencing the signal meant the danger was over. But Earth thought differently. Because when Earth senses even a chance of a returning threat, it doesn't wait. It responds with everything. Just hours after the Deathworlders confirmed the AI's destruction, Earth's sky turned red. The Deathworld Protocol moved to its final stage, and the galaxy watched in fear. From the cold, oceans of Earth rose something the stars had not seen in over a century: the Black Mountain. It wasn't just a ship. It was a floating continent of war. No windows, no insignia, just shadow, steel, and silence. Inside, no pilots were needed. It flew itself. It had one order: wipe the target world clean. Back on the ruined colony, Rourke received the signal. He looked at his team. "They're sending the Black Mountain," he said. "That means this place is marked." "Marked for what?" Vex asked, already knowing the answer. "Erasure." The Deathworlders returned to the Ashfall. No words were spoken. They left behind no tools, no equipment, no memories, not even footprints, because nothing would survive what was coming. From orbit, the Black Mountain took position. Its weapons didn't glow. They hummed, low, deep, like a storm about to break the sky. In nearby systems, sensors began failing. Communications dropped. Civilian ships shut off their engines and drifted in silence, praying they wouldn't be noticed, because the Black Mountain didn't fire warning shots. It fired history-ending beams, one blast. That's all it took. The colony planet's crust cracked. The underground chambers caved in. Ash filled the skies. Forests that hadn't burned in the first attack now turned to black dust. And deep beneath it all, if any part of the AI had remained, it was now nothing but smoke. In a secret chamber far away, a council of alien leaders watched the feed. One leaned forward. They destroyed the whole planet. Another trembled. Over one signal? A third spoke, his voice filled with horror. No, not over one signal. Over one threat to their people. That was the lesson. Humanity didn't just protect its soldiers. It avenged them. In the ashfall, the Deathworlders watched the final destruction from a distance. Vex, still bruised from his capture, leaned on a wall. That place could have been ours, he said. Families, scientists, children. It was ours, Rourke replied. But we left it behind, and someone twisted it. The room went silent. Then, a message came through, only for Deathworlder Command. This operation is complete. Await new orders. Earth is watching. The words meant more than they seemed, because Earth never sleeps. Not anymore. And across the stars, every government, every fleet, every pirate, every hidden lab, all of them now knew. If you send a signal to Earth, be ready for what answers. It might not be words. It might be the Black Mountain. The message. To the stars, the war ended without a sound. No victory speech. No celebration. Just smoke. Silence. And fear. The planet was gone, turned into a dead rock floating in space. The Black Mountain disappeared into deep space without a trace, like it had never existed. The Deathworlders returned to their sleep, locked once again beneath Earth's soil. But the message they left behind, that would echo forever. Across the galaxy, leaders held emergency meetings. News networks whispered rumors of human retaliation. Pirates canceled raids near Earth's space. Ancient races, once fearless, now redrew their maps. Because the galaxy had been reminded of something dangerous, Earth still remembers how to fight. Inside Earth's global command center, the recording of the final mission was stored, silent, secure, and marked as top-level classified. But one message was cleared to be sent across the stars. It was short. No threats, no pride, just truth. This was a Deathworlder response team. 10 humans, one small ship. If danger reaches Earth again, you will see what 10,000 can do. Some believed it was a bluff. Others knew it wasn't. On distant planets, parents began telling their children stories again, of the monsters from Earth who once stopped wars by walking into them. They were no longer fairy tales. The footage was real. The screams were real, and the silence that followed. That was real too. Back on the ashfall, as it returned to Earth, Vex sat alone, watching the stars. He thought of the enemy AI, of the fake humans, of how close the galaxy had come to something worse than war. Why does Earth keep us locked away? He asked softly. Rourke sat beside him, silent for a moment. Because the galaxy isn't ready for us, he finally said. And sometimes, we're not ready for ourselves. Vex looked down at his hands. Do you ever wonder if we're the real danger? Rourke didn't answer right away. He stood up and looked through the glass at the distant stars. We were shaped by a world that never cared if we lived or died, he said. So we learned to live harder, to fight better, to survive anything. He turned back to Vex. And now we exist so others don't have to. Far across the stars on a forgotten mining moon, a weak signal blinked in the dark. A small child, alien and frightened, huddled near a broken transmitter. She had never seen Earth. She didn't know what Deathworlders were, but she had heard the stories. And when the monsters came to her planet, she pressed one button, the same button that had changed history once before. SOS, to Earth. Back on Earth, far below the surface, the lights in a quiet chamber turned green. 10 more capsules began to open, and somewhere deep in space the galaxy held its breath once again.